What an event this is. What we're up against and what I'm seeing in the courtroom is political lawfare. Everybody's a right to defend themselves when they are wrongfully accused. Everyone in this room puts America first. Everyone in this room cares about our country. Beautiful group of women. I am so happy to not be in a courtroom right now. You don't get to see faces like this in New York courthouses, unfortunately. Isn't it a crazy world when a president's lawyer becomes famous? Thank you guys so much for having me today. The Kirks are amazing people. What they're doing here is so amazing. But more importantly, I think it's amazing that you all chose to spend your morning here listening to these voices, and you're choosing to make your lives and your souls and your faith in this country and God better. So thank you to all of you. You know, it's an honor to stand before you, and obviously I'm an incredibly conservative woman. I'm a God-loving woman. But each of you represent the future of this movement, and I'm thrilled to share the journey with you. Usually I am screaming outside a courtroom, but today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to start with a phrase that has guided me through some of the toughest moments in my life. God gives his toughest challenges to his fiercest warriors. Each of us faces battles, and it is our resilience, our courage, and our faith that get us through that. God only gives you what you can handle. Remember that. So let me tell you a little bit about the things people don't know about me. I am the daughter, first generation of immigrant parents. My parents were both born and raised in Baghdad under the regime of Saddam Hussein. My parents had to flee. They had to start over. And they came, not over an open border, to this country. My father's a physician. He did amazingly well. He was top of his class. Then he went to Ireland, studied medical. He's a gastroenterologist, and he went and did everything. He did his residency, but then he came to America and they said, we won't recognize it. You've got to do it again. We had no money. My first home when I was born was across the street from a McDonald's. And my father used to take the money that he could have and got a Coke and a pack of peanuts every day so that we could survive. But he taught me about the American dream. And no matter how down and out he might have felt, he made sure every Sunday we went to church. We were not allowed to whimper. We were not allowed to fuss around. We didn't have iPads. And we had to get on our knees and we had to pray. But more importantly, watching him and watching my mom's support for him taught me about family values and taught me about work ethic, which I use now every day in a way that is unimaginable. These were my foundation, and they guided me through many challenges I faced as a young woman, navigating a normal world prior to being President Trump's lawyer. And let me tell you, I've had my share of struggles. I went through a very tough divorce. Most people don't realize that. I had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I made the toughest decision. And as a Catholic woman, that decision was incredibly hard for me because my mother taught me not to leave, not to give up. In the hardest circumstances, you don't quit. And the circumstances I was given were tough. I was dealing with a person who struggles from a disease that many Americans do. And I had to make the choice. I remember I went to my priest, Father Brian, and I asked him for a meeting, and I said, Father Brian, I'm stuck. I'm a young mom. I'm a lawyer. I had given my husband at the time a share of my firm, and we had 30 people working for us. We were one of the biggest firms in New Jersey with practice across 8 states. I'm licensed in 4. but I was miserable. And I was trying to smile for my children, and I said, what do I do? I love church. I don't want to be exiled. I don't want to get divorced. That's not my plan. And my Father Brian told me, Alina, what's going on at home? And I told him, and he said, you are not Mother Teresa. God does not want this for you. And you need to go. So I share that story because most people would be shocked. A priest told me to get divorced. Not a counselor, not a groomer in school, not a bad friend who just wanted the worst for me because they were jealous. It was a priest. And I did it. Hardest thing I've done. But then I got hit again. Right after I got divorced in the end of 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic hit. I lost my biggest client. I shut my firm down. I had almost no money. And I had already been making a ton. So I'm sitting there with my babies, divorced. And I'm saying, how am I going to do this? I started a new firm. And because of when I started my new firm, I could not get any of the PPP loans. I was in the depths of COVID-19 with 5 people that I pulled from my firm and said, let me start over. So I did. But the point was, giving up was just not an option because I had these 2 children relying on me. And I was so scared. But the opposite of fear is faith. I met with Father Brian. He would send me messages. He would encourage me. I cut some friends out of my life that I realized were happier when I wasn't making money and when I was down and out. There was genuine joy in their face. That somehow the young lawyer who was a managing partner in her early 20s had fallen. And that's when I started working for President Trump. I'm not going to get into politics because I think that there are more important things here in this world, but I'll tell you this. I am one of the lucky few people that actually knows President Trump. He has been one of my biggest mentors in the past 3 years. He helped me get back up. His family has been incredibly supportive. If you guys were here yesterday, you met Laura. She's a friend of mine. And they are the opposite of what the outside world would want you to think. They're supportive. They want the country to do well. And they want me to do well. And that is all we need. Cut the fat. Cut the women from your life that don't want what's good from you. And I hate to say it, but we all have those people in our lives. You don't need many friends. I saw a meme, there was a meme today, actually, this morning. And it said a Lamborghini has 2 seats and a school bus has 30. What do you want to drive? So it's funny, when I was hired to work for President Trump and the Trump Organization, the cases I started with are not spoken about because the left-wing media doesn't want you to hear about our wins. But I won the most cases of any lawyer he's had in the last 3 years for him. I don't say that to gloat. I only say that because it tells you how fake the news is. So I started working for him, and one of the first cases he gave me was a woman accusing him of something he didn't do. It was an Apprentice star. And I took the case from one of the biggest firms in New York who had had it for years. He said, I'm going to give her a try. You can take this case. Now, let me tell you something, okay? They don't teach you how to represent a president in law school. I took that case, and in 2 months, she dropped the case, we didn't settle, and walked away. But you won't hear about it. You'll hear about my losses. You won't hear about the other cases we've won. You won't hear about how I wiped out Michael Cohen when he tried to sue President Trump. You won't hear about how a couple weeks ago Michael Cohen appealed that decision and I won again. But I want to speak because I'm speaking to a group of women about the Bergdorf case I had. Does anybody know about that trial? E. Jean Carroll. Yeah, boo. Yeah, boo. I have other choice words, but boo. But I want to talk about what was happening to me during that trial, not the trial itself. I'm standing in a courtroom, and I'm representing the president for something that he didn't do. And I've got to sit there and be told that I'm attacking another woman, that I'm an anti-feminist, that I'm insane, I'm cruel, I'm mean, because I'm standing up for what I believe in. But just remember also, I'm doing my job. I cross-examined Miss Carroll. She stood on the stand and cried. And when we have trials in Trump worlds, the entire media is there. They're all there. They're all watching. And you can hear them writing their hit pieces, clicking. When a judge ridicules you or puts you down, calls you stupid, tells you to go and sit down, Habba. And you can hear them. But when we make points, it's quiet in the courtroom. They don't want you to hear those points. Because it doesn't suit the narrative that if I am pretty, I must be stupid. If I am loud, I must be insecure. And if I'm fighting a woman who's accusing a man of something, then I must be the most woman-hating female on this planet. And it's not true. I spent a majority of my career doing charitable work for rape victims. I'm involved in a charity for women called Birth Haven. It's something I've been doing since I was in college. And obviously, as I started becoming more successful, I could help these women more. And we take in women whose families don't want them anymore because they've become impregnated, unwed, and they don't want to get an abortion. And we teach them. We don't give handouts. I'm very, very serious about this. I'm involved in 2 charities. Both of them are not about handouts. We pay for them to have a home. We pay for them to help their children. We pray for them to heal. But we teach them how to get a job. We teach them how to do a resume, how to interview, how to wear a suit. And then we get them on their feet. And you know what? They have a timeline. They're not allowed to stay forever. And they have to have a job to stay in our home. And when they do have a job, they have to save 50% of that money and learn to take care of their kids. So I digress, but let me get back to why I say that. You need to know who I am to understand the pain that I went through in that trial. I was sitting in a trial with a woman saying that she wanted millions and millions of dollars from President Trump for being defamed. The evidence was that she had to show that people on Twitter were giving her death threats, that people on Twitter were calling her a liar, that they were calling her mean, stupid, radical. And I would go home every night and look at the tweets that she posted and then look at the tweets that were posted about me. They were exactly the same. Who am I suing? No one. Because you make your bed. You make choices. And I'm going to say something. People have things happen to them, but just trust the fact that those bad things, my divorce, my firm being lost, all those things, COVID, all of it, That's God's plan. There was a day in the news where my parents, I came out and I realized I had stood up next to the president and they were trying to prevent us from getting evidence in that there were mean tweets about this person way before President Trump. He hadn't even spoken her name. And the judge said, Ms. Habba, you're not allowed to bring that in. Great. And you know what? I sat there and I was like, I'm not taking this. I got up, I buttoned my jacket, and I go, Your Honor, that's wrong, and I'm not standing for it. Do you know what his response was? Ms. Habba, sit down or I'm going to put you in prison. It was in the news. My parents were watching Fox at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Alina Habba threatened to go to prison for objecting to evidence. This is the world I'm in. What is going on? And then they insult you. They know the press will start clicking. You must not be smart, Ms. Habba. You better go check your evidence rules. He knows I knew what I was doing. I've been practicing law for 15 years. I'm licensed in 4 states. But they want that narrative. I remember I looked over to the president when the judge said, I'm going to put you in jail. I said, sir, they're going to throw me in jail. He goes, it's okay. But that's the resilience we need. Our country is a mess. And you know what? It is okay, because I did the right thing. I wasn't afraid. I could have been afraid. He was loud, and he scared me. And knowing that I was going to go home and get more death threats and be called stupid, it bothered me. It did. I'm a human being. And that's what I really want you to take away from this. I have the same experiences as a lot of you. It doesn't matter whether my platform happens to be on Fox News. I still go home and get mean tweets. I still go home and feel like I did something wrong that day that maybe I shouldn't have done, and I'll have to now hear it in the news all day. But then I remember I stood up and I did the right thing. And I wasn't afraid. So let me tell you about another part of my life which happened with Carol was these mean tweets. But let me tell you about the first, it's called a hit piece. The first hit piece that ever came out about me was about 3 years ago, when I had started working for President Trump and I had just won that first case. Instead of reporting the win on the first case, this terrible reporter put out a piece about me and said, the title was, "The One Trump Lawyer Everybody Hates." I was also the only female lawyer. I was also the only lawyer under 40. Sorry. So, why do you think they hate me so much? 'Cause I'm loud? I'm so loud. Because I make comments on Patrick Bet-David, I'd rather be pretty than smart? Sorry. But guess what? I'm both. And we can be both. When I was on that Carol case was the first time Saturday Night Live did a skit about me, making fun of me, saying I was stupid. The irony. They defend a woman by saying she's defamed while they defamed a female attorney defending the president. But it hurts. It hurts when people make fun of you. It hurts when people are intimidated by strong women. Because even strong women cry. And my experiences have not always been pleasant. And that's the point. I come out, and I know most of you know me from me screaming, sometimes in a fur coat, screaming outside a courtroom. And I scream and say how much I love the Constitution, how much I love America, and how much I defend President Trump. But sometimes you cry. The first hit piece, I cried. The night that Saturday Night Live hit me, and then did it again 5 nights later. I cried. And I had to get back up and go to court. I had to get in front of the court, in front of the press, and talk about how important what I was doing was for the country. I was supposed to be here. And tears are okay. But there is no job I want more than this. And I'll tell you what, we may not all be the same and have the same experiences, but I want you to know that we all have ups and downs. I hate when people look at famous people or people they see on TV and think, wow, it must be all so glamorous. No, sometimes it is. I mean, I do like getting my hair done and my makeup, but it's not. It's hard work. It's going through a divorce. It's having young kids who sometimes say, Mommy, you didn't make it to my play because you were on trial. It's the mom guilt that kills you. I get it. But we all do our very best, and that's all you can ask for. I was listening to the presenter before talking about some of the psychological issues and things that you go through. And in a perfect world, I would be able to follow every step that she has said, everything about nurturing. And I heard some of your questions. Hey, my mom helped me raise my kid from 1 to 3. I screwed that up, I guess, because I missed the window. Guess what? We're human. We're not a science project. I want to leave some time for questions, but I just want to say that throughout my journey, I've learned that having a seat at the table, especially when it's all boys, is a great honor. It's a position I cherish, and I hope each of you finds the courage to go after your dreams, every single one of them. The American dream is alive, and despite the corruptions and challenges that we face, the future is brighter than ever for conservative women who care about their daughters, their mothers, their grandmothers, their grandchildren, and that is all that matters. I want to remind you to hold on to your faith, to your values, and to your dreams. God gave us these challenges because he knew we could handle them. We are the fiercest warriors. And with courage and determination, we can overcome anything. Be a savage. That's what I always call my kids. I said, you're being very savage today. And they said, Mom, you're savage. I am. Be a savage. Be loud. Be aggressive. It doesn't mean you're not feminine. And ignore them when they call you names for it. They only call me names because I'm effective. So for the foreseeable future, I want you all to shine brightly and unapologetically and help every woman that you know. We're not just going to make America great again. We're going to make women great again. Thank you all so much. God bless you. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions if there are any.
We're going to start on your right.
On my right.
My name is April. I'm a homeschool mom. I just graduated my first daughter. And my second daughter is here with me for her sweet 16 birthday.
Happy birthday.
This is her. Her name is Taylor. She would like to be an attorney just like you. And I really believe that she can do it. And she's a true patriot. So my question for you, and this is one mom to another, is if I can get her picture with you for her sweet 16.
Let's go.
All right. Yeah.
I would come down, but I might die. Let's see. You're going to hold my hand. You want to come up? Can we get her up? Oh, it's my pleasure. Happy birthday, gorgeous.
All right, to your left now.
Okay.
Hi, thank you for being here. You are basically who I'd like to be when I grow up. I'll be going to law school in the fall, so I was curious what your best piece of advice for law school would be.
Yeah, I'm going to be, law school was horrible. It was horrible. Law school is hard, okay? It's not easy. A lot of it's boring. But my advice to you would be to remember that anything that is based on Constitution, to me, is the most critical. Okay, take your con law class incredibly seriously, because I think at this very moment in our country, the Constitution is not valued enough. We're seeing way too many violations of constitutional amendments that our founding fathers made for a reason. So my ask of you and anybody that wants to be a lawyer or is a lawyer is let's instill that back in America. So take your con law class very seriously. Oh, one other thing. Take as many bars as you can at the same time. It was the worst experience, but bang it out and you'll be good.
To your right.
Yeah.
Hi, I am a law student. I am a paralegal, or aspiring paralegal, and I just wanted to know what advice you have for some reservations that I would have about, like, maybe taking that next step in the future and being an attorney. What you think about maybe if I'm correct in having those reservations, or if I should just shoot for the stars, and what advice you have on that.
Don't ever settle. If you're asking me that question, you already know your answer. You're not happy being a paralegal. You wouldn't be considering being a lawyer. You're probably looking at the lawyer saying, I think I could do that. And I assure you, you can. Paralegals are a hard job. I cannot live or do my job without my paralegals. They're my right hands. However, if you're asking me that question, you know your answer. If you're sitting here, you know your answer, so go do it.
Hello. I was just wondering, in an age where there is a lot of fake media and information is really hard to come by when it's really true, what is your approach to research and finding that information that is true or that the media is trying to hide from you?
Yeah, follow people that you want to hear what they have to say. Most of my social media is clips of me speaking what is the truth and what's actually happening in the courtroom to the public. When I do my research, and I know a lot of the people, I know the Tucker Carlsons personally, I know the David Harris's, Charlie Kirk's, I send their message out when I like what they're saying or when I know it to be true, and I have insider information. So my recommendation is we have this great thing with social media platforms right now where there are things like podcasts that didn't exist when I was young, and you don't have to watch mainstream news that's, big guy run. We don't have to watch that. We can pick the people we want to listen to, the people we trust, and go on Truth Social, go on Twitter, go follow them, and they will put the message out. Now, I would also say be balanced. I turn CNN on sometimes. I turn MSNBC on sometimes. I want to know what they're saying. Doesn't mean I believe it, but it also fuels me to go find out the right answer. So follow the people that you want and use some of those platforms to really get the truth.
Hi, my name is Kennedy, and I'm only a sophomore in high school. I recently joined YWLS, and in your message, you talked a lot about being a lawyer. I've been thinking about pursuing law after I graduate high school. Do you have any advice for someone like me who is just starting out and is aiming to be a future lawyer?
Yeah. I think that, and I'll say this for anybody who has a question about being a lawyer, I think you have to recognize what kind of person you are first. So when you go to law school, it's different than medical school. You go to law school to just become a lawyer. You learn general law. You learn foundational stuff. You don't actually learn whatever it is you're going to practice. And you have to recognize who you are as a person. Before I was a lawyer, I was in fashion. I was working with top executives for a major fashion house in New York, and I loved it. And I knew that I just wasn't the kind of person that would do well with transactions. I actually used to represent my husband's company. I was his general counsel. And Anytime there was a deal made and I was doing hundreds of millions of dollars of transactions, I was so aggressive that I was about to blow up the deals. So I looked at myself, and you have to be true to yourself, and I was like, I may be a better litigator. And I made a switch, and I became a litigator. So think about who you are as a person, and all types of law are amazing, but there are people made for certain types, for litigation, for transactional. I would never be a personal injury attorney. My father's a doctor. In principle, I have a hard time suing doctors. Keep your morals safe. Keep who you are safe. I could not represent rapists. I couldn't. I can't do criminal law. I don't want to. So be honest and true to who yourself. Just because of your profession, I think you can have boundaries. Any profession. You can have boundaries and say, that's not for me. I'm not going to do that. My client has criminal trials. Those are not for me. And I'm not going to do them. But that doesn't mean you're less worthy. So you figure out who you are, and then you use the law degree to work for you.
Okay, this will be the last question.
Okay.
Hello, Alina. I'm Santi Russell. I'm a current paralegal studies major. I'm going to be a paralegal within the next year. I have a two-part question for you. What are your recommendations as I look for internships and start to enter this career field in navigating the corruption that we find in the law as a paralegal who doesn't always have quite as much freedom as an attorney in choosing what cases and what firm I end up working for, especially in the internship process? And second, as a feminine woman who likes to put effort into my appearance, how do you recommend being taken seriously in this male-dominated industry while staying true to your style and your confidence as a feminine woman?
Yeah, those are two good questions. So let me take the first one. Obviously, if you work at a law firm, you can't choose the work that you get, right? But I wouldn't have a problem saying, hey, I'm really interested in becoming a lawyer, maybe working for this firm, and I am really interested in this type of law. If I could work for the partner that does that, that would be amazing. First of all, they're going to respect you for not sitting there like a secretary and saying, hey, I'm not going to say, no. I don't care what your job is. I don't care if you're the cleaning person. You should be able to say, this is what I'm interested in. I'm happy here. I'm not happy there. Can we progress in that way? And by the way, if you're working at a place that won't respect you saying that, find a new job. Also, and by the way, like I said, I am the woman that wants my husband to open my door. I want to be very clear. My husband doesn't open my door and pay for my dinner. He ain't my husband. So I want to be clear on that, because I think that there are different types of women that come out and say we're strong and all that, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to be taken care of. So you can be strong but respectful in your workplace. Okay, respect the boundaries, respect the hierarchy. But just say, hey, I really enjoy working with this partner because they do medical malpractice and it really intrigues me. If I could get more of that work, I would love it. Nothing wrong with that. As to the question, I will never wear an ugly suit. I don't care what my job is. Not happening. Truth be told, that's been part of, and I'll say this on a serious note because I think it goes to what I'm saying. That's been part of why I've gotten the most criticism, I think, as an attorney. I think that's also part of why I am sitting here in front of all of you with a crowd. I don't fit the typical lawyer profile. And it's such a shame that as women, we feel like we have to wear a low block heel, put our hair in a bun, and a black suit to go to court. I don't do that. I wake up an hour and a half early for Glam Squad to come. Okay? I don't care. Because it makes me feel good. It does. Because my job is hard enough. And when you feel like you didn't put your Lululemon leggings on, maybe you put a pair of cute torn jeans and you're feeling yourself that day, you become a little fiercer. And it's true. When I go down to those courthouses, I'll leave you on this. I think I'm most well known for my outside the courthouse rages. But let me tell you what I do right before I go out there. I'm usually with President Trump. We've usually had a rough day in court. And there's something that's either come out in the news or came out in court that shouldn't have happened, and we want the American people to know. And President Trump, being a party to the case, cannot always come out and say things that he wants to say, unfortunately, because we usually have these gag orders from these corrupt judges So First Amendment rights are violated. So then me as his spokeswoman, I can. That's how this started. And I always stop everyone. Secret Service, my security, President Trump. I don't care. And I say, I gotta put my lip gloss on. And I gotta look good before I go out there. True. That's the truth. And don't apologize for it. Because if I can tell that team of individuals, people with like shotguns, and say, excuse me guys, I'm gonna need 2 minutes to gloss. I don't care. Because then I go out there and I deliver the most savage statements ever about saving our country. Thank you guys so much. God bless all of you. God bless America.